Hi everybody. How are you all doing? I hope that all of you are having a wonderful day or night whenever you are watching this video. So as you guys are aware, a few of my videos had to get discarded because my ring light was malfunctioning, and I already mentioned it on my community tab. So I'm here today trying to film the same videos all over again. Certain things just can't be helped because that's how life is. So as you can tell from the title, today I'll be doing an August reading wrap-up video. And initially I was unsure if I wanted to make this because I just ended up reading 3 books in August because last month was very busy for me. But I saw Katie Alice do it on her channel and she encouraged me as well, so here I am trying to share my 3 books with you guys. So I hope you guys enjoy. Starting off strong with this book called Mexican Gothic. Now, when I picked this book up, I was mainly craving the feel of One Dark Window, which is like a very gothic story with a strong female protagonist. And that is when I remembered this book. My boyfriend had actually mentioned this book a couple of years back, but I never ended up reading it. So this is about a young girl called Noemi Deboda, and she's this really fun and lively young girl who lives in the city and has a very happening life. So she's a socialite and she attends all of these balls and events. So one day when she returns home from one of her balls, her father informs her that their cousin had sent in a letter stating that how sick she is, and she has been seeing these visions and hearing strange sounds in the house that she lives in. So her cousin is married to this man called Doyle. So Doyle, along with his family, lives in this huge estate, and there is this really old building, like castle-like building called High Place, and there are graveyards all around, and it's set on a remote hill in the Mexican countryside. So Noemi's father urges her to go check on her cousin because her cousin had lost her parents early on in life and she didn't really have any relatives to care for her. So Noemi travels to High Place, and that is where most of the story takes place. Actually, like 90% of the entire story takes place in High Place. And this house basically has very strange secrets, and so does the Doyle family. So the Doyle family actually had a mining empire, and they they were kind of oppressive towards the locals, and they have these very outdated beliefs about superiority of white blood. So I really liked the colonial themes in this one, colonial oppression, and also the theme of female independence and subversion of patriarchy. So the central character Noemi actually ends up challenging the authority of the men in the family, even older men who try to belittle her because she's a woman. I really like the story and the Gothic element. However, 80% in, they introduced this fungus, which is like a sentient being, and it helps the people of the Doyle family, especially the aging members of the Doyle family, to kind of transfer their soul onto the younger members, if that makes sense. So honestly, I wasn't very fond of that trope, but it does have a metaphorical meaning to it. But there were some really gross descriptions of spores and fungi, so if you have that kind of a phobia, I'll ask you to steer away from this book. But otherwise, I really like the themes that were covered in this book, because currently I am, like really drawn to literature that has some deeper context versus the very light-hearted casual reads. I am a literature student, like former literature student, for context, and I'm used to dissecting very heavy texts and plays. So I like from time to time I have an itch for good literature. Next book that I read is called The Crash by Frida McFadden. Now this was a kind of a miss for me, and I just finished about 80% and abandoned it. And I'm not someone to DNF books, especially if they are mysteries, and I like Frida McFadden as an author. However, this is the first book by her that I have DNF'd. So this one is about Tegan, who is this young girl who is 8 months pregnant, and she conceived from a one-night stand, and this man wants to, like, the man she had a one-night stand with wants to buy her off. So that is how the story starts. Now she has a change of mind and doesn't really want to sign an NDA, like for the money. So she is traveling to meet her brother and just spend Christmas with him. So meanwhile, while traveling, her car breaks down in the middle of a blizzard, and she injures her ankle, and she's just stranded there in the middle of the blizzard. Now she's rescued by this really burlesque looking man called Hank, who takes her to his house. There she meets Polly, who is an ex-nurse, basically Hank's wife, And initially, like, she's really intimidated by Hank, and Polly takes care of her, and she's set up a room for her in the basement, waiting for the blizzard to die down before they can take her to the hospital. But as time passes, Tegan realizes that they have no plans of taking her to the hospital. Now she thinks it's Hank who is basically behind this, and she tries to escape a lot of times and is met with failure. Now what I did not like is the story was told from both Tegan and Polly's perspective, and it kept shifting between the two, so there was an overlap of information, and after a point it felt a little dragged, like her trying it was like an endless loop of her trying to escape and not being able to escape. Like 80% through the story, that is all that keeps happening. So honestly, it felt really tedious to get through. But I had to know where the story is headed, so my boyfriend actually read this book, so I asked him to tell me the twist in the end, the classic Frida McFadden twist, and he did tell me. So I did like the twist, but a book for me isn't just about the twist. Like there needs to be a little bit of something in the journey. Let me know if you guys have read this one and what your thoughts are on this book. This book I read is on my Kindle. So the last book that I read is called Broken Bayou by Jennifer Moorhead. So this is again a thriller mystery. This one is about a child psychologist called Willa, and she is going through a very rough period in her life. So during a live television talk show, she ends up doing something really crazy on camera because she's triggered by a phone call from one of the audiences. So it's all on live TV, and it goes viral. So she amidst all of this chaos, she travels to a small town in Louisiana to get away from all of this chaos. So she would spend her summers in Louisiana with her mother and her little sister, and it's their great aunt's house. Now once she gets to the house, she discovers some really crazy things in the attic which reveal certain disturbing facts about her mother's past. Now the mother is basically a drug addict, as shown in the book, and both Willa and her sister had to face a lot of that abuse while growing up, because their mother wasn't really fit to take care of them. Anyway, so the mystery starts when certain barrels full of human remain are discovered in the bayou, and their mother's car is also, drawn out from the bayou, and it's the car that her mother made her dump into the bayou some years back, and there's a body found in that car. So that's how Willa gets entangled in all of this chaos. Honestly, for me, this was more than a thriller. I could really connect to the characters, and it was painful. It was honestly painful because it's not easy reading about children who are affected by their parents being a victim of drug abuse. So it's like both Willa and her little sister who had to go through a really rough childhood. Some of that might be triggering, so I would recommend checking the trigger warnings before reading this one. But I really liked the author's writing style, and I would definitely recommend this if you want a thriller that will also make you feel things, and not something that you can just forget about right after you're done reading. Okay, guys, that is all that I have for tonight's video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Thank you so much as always for watching, and I'll see you guys in my